in transport tube, and this yarn tails comes here and pick the fiber. So what is going to happen? So this is the third possibility. And the third category is that fiber is fully embedded on rotor surface. Fiber has come and it is embedded on rotor surface. And then yarn tails comes and pick the fiber. So these are the only three possibilities I may have, that how that fiber deposition is taking place. So this point is clear, or any doubt on that? So two things that I'm taking into consideration. First, that I'm taking the orientation of fiber in my feed material, because feed material orientation will also decide orientation of fiber in yarn. That is point one. So there that we have taken this assumption that my saliva, all fibers are straight, or they have only leading hook, or have a trailing hook, or this is a both side hook. That is part one. Second thing that we say, what are the possibilities? How that fibers, the deposition will take place, and how that picking of the yarn is going to take place. So there that possibility we say that fiber is just emerging from transport tube, it is being picked by the yarn tail. Another possibility is partially some part of the fiber is still in transport tube, some is on the rotor surface and it is being picked. And third possibility is that fiber is fully embedded on rotor surface and it is being picked. So these are the possibilities that we can have. So now let's see one by one. Now this is the situation where that we say the fibers in the saliva, all fibers are straight. I'm feeding this fiber and all fibers are straight. So in that case, what is happening? The category 1, in category 1, what is category 1? The fiber was just emerging from transport tube and it is picked by the yarn. So it means that this part was in transport tube and that it was just emerging from exit point of the transport tube. So what is going to happen? Fiber in the yarn will remain straight. There is no going to change, because this portion is in transport tube. It is just emerging out, and yarn tails comes here and pick the fiber, and this is now straight. Now suppose this fiber falls in the second category, is the part of the fiber is in transport tube and this part of the fiber that is in rotor surface, and it is being picked by yarn tail, because this is the point that I'm indicating. This is the yarn tail where that it is picking the fiber. So now the moment it will pick, it will form a leading hook. So a leading hook formation is going to be in the yarn. Now third category, fiber is totally inside the rotor surface and it is being picked. So it will be picked from here, because this is totally on a rotor surface and the yarn tails comes here, then this will be straight. So here what is you are noticing? Even though that you are feeding all fiber which are straight in saliva, still there are chances that some fiber may fall in category 2 and they may form a hook in the yarn, which is at this moment is leading hook. So even though that this all fibers in the saliva are straight, then also that you will find some formation of leading hook is going to be because some fibers may fall also in category 2. So this is the situation 1. Now second, the situation is where that all fibers in the saliva are having leading hook. So this is the situation I'm talking. All fibers have leading hook in saliva. Now again, the category 1, this fiber is just emerging from transport tube. It is being picked by the yarn tail. It will fall this again leading hook. Maybe that hook extent is going to be more. But yes, it is going to remain as a leading hook. The another situation, this I'm feeding again fiber with leading hook. So the category 2, what is my category 2? Part of the fiber is in transport tube and part of the fiber is in rotor surface. So it is going to be picked from here. So again, it is going to form a leading hook, but that hook extent will increase. Now, third category, this fiber is fully embedded on rotor surface and is being picked from here. So what is happening? that this portion is going with yarn tail. This portion, because it will come in contact of some other fibers on rotor surface, so there are chances due to brushing effect, this portion may get straightened. So the fiber is getting straight. So now see the situation that I have fed the fibers having all leading hooks. In yarn, that there are chances that some fibers may get straightened, but few fibers that will remain having a leading hook, but that hook extent is going to be higher. So, but leading hooks are going to be in the yarn. So this is my situation 2. Now see situation 3, where that I'm feeding all fiber having trailing hooks. Now if that is the situation, then the fibers are falling under category 1. What is my category 1? It is just emerging from transport tube. It is being picked from here. So what is going to happen? This portion is still in transport tube and that will come again with some other fibers or even the inner surface of rotor. It is likely this portion may get straightened out due to again brushing action. Fiber in the yarn will be straight. Now, if a fiber is falling in category 2, where that part of the fiber is in transport tube and part of the fiber is in a rotor surface, and yarn tails comes here, pick the fiber, what is going to happen? This portion will get formation of a leading hook, and the fiber portion which was still lying in the transport tube due to brushing action may get straightened out. But leading hook with your larger hook extent, because it will depend the position of yarn tail, where yarn tail comes and how much length of the fiber has come inside the transport tube. Now, third category is what? The fiber is fully embedded. So that is the fiber, it will be picked from here. So what happened? That this fiber will have leading hook, and this chances are again fiber extent, leading hook extent might get increased. So in this case, what is happening? You fed this all fibers having trailing hooks. But in this case that you are finding, yes, one fiber, there are possibilities some fiber may get straightened out, but a majority of fibers will have again leading hook. Okay. Now this my last situation, where that all fibers in the saliva are having both sides, leading as well as trailing hook. Now if that is the situation, again see the category 1. What is my category 1? Fiber is emerging from transport tube, it is being picked. So it will form a loop hooks with the larger hook extent, but this portion is likely to get straightened out. So again leading hook. Now there's category 2. So category 2 that you are where that this part of the fiber is still in the transport tube and part is in transport this rotor surface. Now it is being picked from somewhere middle part. It will form a leading hook. This portion may get straightened out. Now category 3, that the fiber is fully embedded on rotor surface. It will be picked from here, and this will form a again leading hook, and this portion may get straightened out. So here that you are finding, once that I'm feeding all fiber have this leading as well as trailing hooks, but in the yarn that all three are having chances of formation of leading hook, no trailing hook. So this is a good indication that now suppose if we see how this overall pictures is emerging. Now, how many hooks that you have leading? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, 7, 8. So it means under this 12 fibers, 8 fibers that they are having chances of formation of leading hook. And that is the reason that you find, once I will go to this our the table, that in case of rotor yarn that you are finding that the majority of fibers have this leading hook. in all the cases, irrespective of fiber length. So this is a indication and that explanation that we can say why that this rotary spring system is forming more leading hook. That is one point. So, and second point is, yes, this the movement fibers are forming leading hooks and all, so that ultimately this my fiber extent is going to be lesser, and that is the reason that will be responsible for lower value of KF in rotary spun yarn. Now, another important point that I would like to explain, that you see that we have taken a situation where that I'm using fiber of different length. So what is going to happen? The moment that I'm using this fiber of different length, so as I said that the fiber will take more time to reach to rotor surface, or residence time ultimately of this longer fiber in the spinning system will be more. So in that case, there are chances that a good number of fibers will fall under the category of this 2, where that part of the fiber will be in the rotor surface and part of the fiber on this your transport tube. So in that case, again, that the moment it will be picked from here, then this your leading hook will get formed and the hook extent will be higher. So that is again giving you the good explanation that the moment I'm using the longer fiber, chances of hooking are higher in comparison to shorter fibers. So one way we can say, it looks like that is, suppose that I'm using this longer fiber and the formation of hooks are increasing, so there is no use, there is no advantage to go for longer fibers. And that is the reason that the rotary spinning system is this mainly used for shorter fibers of say 30, 34, 36 mm of that order, not beyond that. Because the moment that I'm using a longer fiber on rotary spinning system, my fibers that they get disorientated. So up to this point, it is clear, or anybody has a doubt? So the point taken that what assumption that we have taken, that even that we are feeding this your well-oriented fiber, some disorientation is taking place, which we have also seen in my earlier talk, where that we studied this proportion of curved fiber and relative fiber parallelization. There again that we have seen that the way that the fibers are getting deposited on the surface, there is a disorientation. So it means there is this issue that with the spinning system which is responsible for disorientation. Technically, it is expected, as that we have noticed in case of ring yarn, each and every stage fiber status and parallelization is taking place. But in case of rotary spinning system, that system itself is responsible for disorientation of fiber. So it means that some changes, some modification has to be done so that we can improve the fiber orientation. And that is the reason all the time I'm saying that the study of yarn structure is not only just helping that about your information about yarn and its behavior in subsequent process. It also gives a good information how that some modification, some changes in technology can be brought in so that we can get more advantages. So up to this point, is it clear, or anybody has any doubt? Any question at this stage?
No, sir.
Okay, so I will just move further. Now here that you see, now I will just explain different spinning system that yarn made on different spinning system. So one of the spinning system that I will use is rotary spinning. So rotary spinning, that it is known to you that how fiber this your movement is taking place, and what are the reasons that are responsible for disorientation in the yarn. So this part I hope that it is now clear to you. Now that I will take, this is the situation what I was talking, that this is my rotor surface and this is my yarn tail, that fibers that they get individualized, they get deposited on rotor surface, and then the yarn tails comes and take the fiber in the yarn. And so that is the way that how deposition and peeling takes place. Here that you have to be very, very clear that this yarn tail, this speed has to be more than rotor surface. First, that peeling has to take place, then only that you will have a place for fiber deposition. If your yarn tail is moving at a slower speed than rotor surface, then what is going to happen? These fibers are already there and it is not being peeled off. So you will not be able to maintain the same linear density. So it is important that if a rotor is taking one revolution, then yarn tail will take 1 plus delta x revolution. So this delta x will depend on this rotor speed, rotor diameter, yarn linear density. So the delta x will depend on that. But yes, that the first peeling of fiber has to take place, and then only the deposition is going to happen. So this is an important issue. Now another issue that you might have noticed in case of rotor yarn, that this once that we explain this some orientation. So you might have noticed in case of rotor yarn, this belt formation. This is the belt formation. How that this belt formation will take place? What is the reason of that? And this is definitely again affecting the disorientation. So now that you again see carefully this figure. Suppose this is a situation that a fiber which is on this rotor surface. Now here that part of the fiber is on a rotor surface and part of the fiber is transport tube. Yarn tails comes here. But the fiber which is on a rotor surface, it will be pressed by the centrifugal force, so that a control over the fiber is there due to the centrifugal force. But the part of the fiber which is still in the transport tube, my category 2, has no control. So what is going to happen? The moment that this yarn is picked, from this point. So yes, the fiber which is on the rotor surface will have a helical configuration. But the portion which is still lying in the transport tube will just get wrapped over the yarn body. And due to that, they will form these belts and all, which you have seen in case of rotor spinning system. So it means that my category 2 is now becoming more dangerous. That we have to see, is suppose that some development in the technology has to be carried out. We have to see that how I can reduce your chances of fiber to come under category 2. Because the best category is the category 3, where that full length of the fiber is embedded on rotor surface. So that is the best ideal situation. And this category 2 and category 1, because category 1 is again going to increase the formation of more belt formation, because the entire length of the fiber is in the transport tube. And transport tube, this fiber is not being controlled. It is just lying on the transport tube. The moment that it is being picked by the your yarn tail, so the portion of the fiber which is lying in the transport tube, it will just get wrapped over the yarn body. And ultimately, it is not going to contribute much to yarn strength, to a fiber extent and all is going to be lesser. So this is the point that in case of the rotor that we have to keep in mind, because this is the situation what I was referring, because this is my rotor surface, this is my yarn tail, and imagine that this fiber has been picked and this portion is still in the transport tube. So what is going to happen? This particular portion, as this yarn is moving forward, then it will just get wrapped over the yarn body, and this formation of which sometimes in literature you'll find wrapper fibers, or some people they use these belts, formation of belts. So this wrapper formation, because this is the way that this fiber, as you noticing, the wrapper is taking place. And this fiber is not have helical configuration, and this we will not be able to get the advantage of this wrapping to large extent. So this is the way that how this wrapping is taking place. It means this is again is indicating there are good chances that this my fiber disorientation is taking place, and that is the reason that your rotor spinning system is giving you lesser value of Kf in comparison to ring yarn. At the same time, this is also explaining the moment that I'm using longer fiber, the chances of wrapper fibers and all are likely to be more in comparison to shorter fibers. And that is the reason it is not advisable to use longer fiber on rotary spinning system, because that we are not getting any advantage of this fiber length. Okay, so now that this is the same thing that it is explaining, that you see how this your wrapper formation is taking place in the yarn, because this part it is being taken in a middle portion. The portion which was lying in the transport tube is definitely going to this affect or going to form wrapper formation. So this is the point which I try to explain. So this wrapper formation. Now here that you see this another case study that I will take. Now in this case that I'm trying to take this four technologies: ring spun yarn, rotor spun yarn, air jet spun yarn, and OE friction spinning. So four different technologies we are taking. And this here in this case the fiber length and linear density and everything that we have kept constant. And now you see this fiber extent. Fiber extent in case of ring yarn is 30.2, rotor yarn is 20.4, air jet yarn is 33.3, and rotor yarn this it is 13.7. Then we have calculated the spinning in coefficient. In case of ring yarn, my spinning in coefficient is 0.69, rotor spin that is 0.46, and air jet yarn that is 0.76, and in case of rotor yarn it is only 0.31. So here that you see out of these four technology, spinning coefficient in case of air jet spun yarn is higher, followed by ring, rotor, and draft. So again that this your phenomena that you can explain that how fibers this your consolidation is taking place, how fiber this twisting is taking place, how fiber picking and all is taking place. In case of air jet yarn, that you will be aware that this fiber ribbon is divided into two parts. One part this becomes the core, and another part becomes the wrapper fiber. So that this wrapper fibers that they wrap the core. So that's in that case, what is going to happen? That the fibers those are falling under this core group will have more straightness and parallelization in comparison to the fibers those are wrapping the core fibers. So that is the one reason, because where that 70%. In case of this air jet spinning system, 70% fiber are this forming the core, and 30% are being used as a wrapper fiber. So it is likely that this your core fibers will remain more straight and parallel, and that is one of the reasons that it is giving you this higher value of spinning coefficient in comparison to ring yarn. Now, once that we see this your helix angle in case of ring yarn is 17.2, rotor yarn 25.1, ring yarn 11.5, and rotor is the maximum that 30.3. Now here you see the moment that your helix angle is increasing. Imagine if fiber is straight and you are measuring the strength of the fiber, it will be the highest. The moment that the fiber is inclined at a certain angle, so this cos theta effect will be there. So the contribution of strength will reduce. So as your helix angle will be higher, that the contribution of fiber strength to yarn is going to be lesser. So what do you want? That in a yarn, that helix angle should be as minimum as possible. So this is another reason, because this is deciding this orientation of the fiber, how that helix angle is changing, and helix angle that you are noticing in different technology, that you are noticing a different maximum that you are getting in case of friction spinning system, and least that you are getting in case of your air jet. And air jet, again, explanation is because majority of fibers that core are straight and parallel, so there is no helix. So that helix angle is going to be definitely over lesser. So this is of course talking about number of fiber in yarn cross section. Now that you see, this is in case of, because this number of fiber in the cross section will depend on helix angle. So that here that you see ring yarn 178, rotor yarn 157, and in case of air jet yarn is 162, and draft it is 158. So again, that this here that helix angle, in case of ring yarn, that you are finding that you are getting the this maximum number of fiber, and the least that you are getting in case of friction spinning. So here that again, because this texture, helix angle is now deciding your number of fibers in the yarn. Now this is indicating this your yarn diameter. Now yarn diameter will depend on the concentration mechanism, how fiber are cross-sectionally placed in the yarn, and that is the reflection of yarn diameter. The lower the yarn diameter means more packed yarn, and higher the yarn diameter, more open structure. So in this case, again, that you find this from a diameter point of view, that you are getting in a micrometer 200, 220, 182, 245. So there that you say that the maximum packing, this least yarn diameter you are getting in case of this air jet, and that the explanation is that yes, parallel bundle of fiber, it is being wrapped by the wrapper fibers. So definitely that wrapper fibers will reduce this diameter, or increase the packing density, and that is a reason that you are getting lowest the yarn diameter in comparison to others. So that air jet followed by this ring, rotor, and this draft. Now again, that the moment that we see this leading hooks and trailing hooks, here that we have divided into percentage as well as hook extent, because your spinning in coefficient will depend also number of hooks in the yarn and the hook extent in the yarn. So both the things are going to decide my fiber extent. So now here that you see in case of ring yarn, I have 9.8% your leading hooks. In case of rotor yarn, it is 20.1. In case of this air jet yarn, it is 7.8. In case of this OE friction spin, I have this your 32.3%. So here that again that you are noticing that leading hooks, of course, in case of air jet yarn are least, followed by ring, rotor, and draft. But the moment we see this average extent value of hook, in case of ring yarn it is 1.3, rotor yarn is 4.2, air jet yarn is 1.2, and here it is 8.5. So again that air jet yarn is giving you lesser hook extent, followed by ring, rotor, and draft. Now trailing hooks. Now trailing hooks, that again that you are noticing that your air jet, rotor yarn, and this of course air jet is giving the least, followed by rotor, ring, and your friction spinning. And if you see this hook extent, so there that you are getting again 1.4 in case of air jet, followed by ring, rotor, and this your OE friction. And double hooks that you find. So double hooks gain that you are finding in case of your air jet is 1.6, followed by ring, then rotor and friction. And hook extent, this is the gain in case of air jet is 3.1, that followed by ring, rotor and friction. So what conclusion that we are drawing, that yes, fiber extent in case or hook formation in case of air jet yarn is least, followed by ring, rotor and the friction spinning system. The worst situation that you are finding in case of your OE friction spinning system. So OE friction system, the way fiber consolidation is taking place, definitely that it is not providing a good structure. This is one of the worst structure that we have noticed among all spinning system. So here that what we are concluding, that this your air jet yarn then definitely has or showing highest spinning coefficient, because it is being supported by this leading hooks, hook extent and percentage of this your hooks, leading, trailing as well as this double hook, both side of hooks. So that's why that it is important now. That is indicating now, yes, all the systems are forming hooks. None of the system is giving you this perfect state fibers without hooks. So it means that now we have to see how that I can optimize my process so that I can minimize this formation of hooks. And if I'm able to minimize the formation of hooks or reducing this percentage of hooks, then definitely it is going to enhance my spinning in coefficient, and that is going to help me this your enhancing the strength of the yarn. But here that I'm giving you one caution. Here that you don't take the statement that if my fiber extent is more or spinning in coefficient is higher, that yarn will have higher strength. No, not all the time. Yes, higher this spinning coefficient will help to increase the strength of the yarn. But it doesn't mean that if I have a two yarn, and one case that spinning coefficient in one yarn is higher than other, and you say no, the strength will be always higher. It is not. And this part that I will talk once that I will talk about tensile properties of the yarn. So that time that I will explain. Otherwise, the simple reason that you say that we have to see the structure in totality. We have to see how packing of the yarn is taking place. Take a typical case. I have a ring yarn. I will take this example of ring yarn because you are more familiar with that. Ring yarn, that higher the spindle speed, higher the packing density. Are you agreeing with that? Because this spinning tension will bring the fiber closer, so yarn will be highly packed, so packing density will be more. So what we say, higher the packing density, strength of the yarn is likely to be more. At the same time, the moment that we talk about this your longitudinal behavior of the fiber, higher the your spindle speed, more disorientation. Even though that you see the moment that I'm going for a higher this spindle speed, there are chances that fiber after drafting they may slip over each other. So that overlapping point between two fibers is going to reduce. Even though I may have higher fiber extent, but overlapping between two fibers is lesser, then definitely this yarn is not going to come, even though it is also highly packed. That will not give you the higher strength. Because this another phenomenon, another aspect of yarn structure is coming out. Suppose in between two fibers, what is the average value of overlapping? Because fibers are falling one over other, so that they will also get overlapped. So what is the average overlapping? If average overlapping in the yarn is higher, that this yarn is going to contribute more to yarn strength in comparison to a yarn where that this your overlapping is lower. So it means that we have to see this structure from all the angle, from cross-sectional point of view, from longitudinal point of view, and as well as the longitudinal this overlapping angle. Then only I will be in good position to explain that why that strength of the your yarn is going to be reduced. So this also that caution that I'm giving, because in general that we have noticed that we give very the sweeping statement: higher the packing density, higher is the strength. Higher the swinging coefficient, higher the strength. Yes, it is, but not all the time, because we have to see other structural characteristics, because at this moment that I have not talked about fiber migration, because this is another important characteristics of the yarn, how fiber migration is taking place. That also we have to consider while explaining the yarn strength. So that is the reason that I'm always giving a caution that once that you are concluding, see all the structural characteristics. Don't conclude on the basis of only one structural characteristics to explain the yarn properties. So it is okay. Any question at this moment?
No, sir.
So okay, so this is the point that I wanted to explain, that theory of spun in fiber, how fibers that they are longitudinally placed in the yarn, and how that they are going to contribute to yarn strength. Another thing, how then this information definitely, as that we say, is I'm in good position to explain this yarn properties and all. Otherwise, simply if I say yes, your draft is more and why the strength is lesser and all, because draft or spindle speed, rotor diameter, that they are not deciding the your yarn property, because the change of rotor speed, change of rotor diameter, change in the spindle speed is changing the orientation of fiber, and the change of fiber orientation is deciding the yarn property. So that we should be very, very careful, that we have to understand the moment that I'm changing the process parameters or changing technology, then definitely these parameters are responsible to change the fiber orientation, fiber configuration, and this change is ultimately responsible for strength. So that is the reason that if I have to explain this yarn property, if I have to modify this any technology and all, one has to understand this yarn structure in better way. So I will just end it here. Okay, have a nice time and stay safe.
Hello, sir.
Yeah.
Sir, when will you
receive our minor marks?
I will load it today. You will get it by late evening.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.